they go around, in some of the cities or some of the areas of Taiwan, and they just interview people who are roaming on the street during the working hours and see what they're up to. Today I took half a day off to the bank to run some errands, and I still feel like I'm at work because I'm still answering calls or receiving messages from the office. People would ask me for something. They would ask for permissions or approval, or talk about what's gonna do for their job, or what's gonna happen next week and what preparations we're gonna do. So it's been a while for me, and the working hour. I mean, the day working hour. Even though I'm not in the office, in my person, I'm still feel like attached to it. So I don't feel like I'm taking a day off. I feel like I'm still working, but I'm just physically there. You know what I'm saying? Even though like a couple of years ago, my wife and I, we went to Japan and we were sightseeing and driving, and occasionally I still receive phone calls or text messages that I need to deal with, given the job I do, given the level of strategy or business directions and so on. I remember even my boss, he is, below no one. He is the head of the business unit. He's still receiving, he's joining joining meetings, and sometimes we still bother him during his day off for like major decisions that need to be made only by him. Only he could make these decisions and so on. So that's kind of what we do. I don't know if it's part of Asian destiny, or part of Asian culture. Like, you're so dedicated to your job. There's no clear boundary between work and life, right? And I find that interesting. The thing is that, for example, right now I'm out in the cities. I'm driving around, and I still feel like at work because it is still the official working hours. So most people, I would say the majority of people, they're still over there in the office, like writing emails, having meetings, maybe perhaps calling my extension to find that I was not there. So I would say like certain percentage of your mind still attached to your work. I don't know if it is out of a responsibility or out of the obligation or out of the competition of work, and you need to stay sharp, stay on the edge, stay on the the update, the latest progress of in your company or the position you do. But for me, it's been like a decade. So for example, sometimes me and my wife, we took a day off, and I took a day off, then we went go to other cities or we went to the mountains. I was still, there is a certain part of my brain, my mental activities still attached to what is happening in the office, at the workspace. And sometimes I would still think about it, some of the decisions that we're still making, or some of the tasks are not 100% fulfilled. I would trouble my mind with that. It becomes a second instinct to me. I am only fully rested during the national holidays or during the time where people are, physically off work, right? For example, it is during the Chinese New Year or the national holidays like Labor Day or tomb swapping days. So these are the days that other people from the company or from majority of them are not working, and until then I only felt kind of rested and at ease during these kind of holidays. And I'm saying this because we are one of the major athletic footwear manufacturer in the world. We have factories in Indonesia, Vietnam, China, and we have customers working, from in the States. and it's all like mingle together. So sometimes when you are resting, and for example during the Saturdays, most of the factories are still working. So even though during the weekends, you still kind of, there are email coming in. Your colleagues are still working, and they might need your assistance, or might ask you about something, or they might you know share some information that you probably need to know. And our customers, they are, sometimes they are living in another hemisphere. So some of our teammates, they even, they are kind of upside down, right? So when they are resting, we're working. When we're working, when we're resting, they're working. So the emails could be coming in like during the hours that you're sleeping. And some of them, if there are kind of emergency that you need to deal with them like immediately after you wake up, you wake up. So I don't know. That is the nature of our work, and that is the nature of the globalization, where like we are a global supply chain, and we're working with people from all across the horizons. And this kind of put me and some of the teammates like in the restless state. And yeah, so I'm not ranting, I'm just sharing what I thought. So this has been quite a while, and I find it's very interesting. Perhaps like after 5 p.m. or 5:30, I would feel, there's a sense of relief that finally the working day is off, and I can really relax my mind. And yeah, and there's one like popular YouTube channel, YouTube programs that they go around, in some of the cities or some of the areas of Taiwan, and they just interview people who are roaming on the street during the working hours and see what they're up to, how they make a living, and what are they doing, right? These kind of shows are popular. I don't know why. Not particularly because they are interesting, but also maybe it's because that for ordinary people, for the majority of people working for the 9 to 5, well, it's actually 8 to 5 here. And even though for example, for the high technology sectors, people would be working extra long hours. That was me before. We were working like 9 to 9 or 9 to 8 or something like that. But anyway, coming back to the topic, that people are interested in this kind of shows because for the majority of people, this is a norm of life. You just go to work and you just work there, and you don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know what's happening outside of your office. If you're lucky, you're blessed with like a sales job, or you're like a driver, you get to travel, you got to see around the world. Otherwise, you're just staying indoors and doing your business, and then after when you're clocking off, then most of the times it's already like the sun is setting, and the rest of your day will be dark, in the nights, and you go on to live and fulfill your obligations, your family, or your children, your parents, and your significant others. So that's kind of a regular, I would say, the norm, the ordinary type of life here for the majority of people. So these kind of shows are interesting to many people, to me as well. So as I was driving here in the city during the off hours, I feel like sometimes I also wonder for those people who are doing nothing else when they're just like walking in the streets, or chilling out in the park, or maybe they're just doing nothing else. I always wonder what the hell are these people are. What do they do for a living? How do they feed their family? Are they really retired, or maybe they're making enough money and they don't worry about anything else? I don't know. Kind of gives me wonder. And before I joined the corporate, I had much more freedom in my time as well. Before I was a musician, I go to the gigs when I have one. I go to the lessons when I'm scheduled, and I do have a bunch of free time, just chilling out and maybe practicing music, or just I'm always traveling from one location to another location to do the gigs or to do the lessons. And I kind of like, going out and about, and not fixing yourself in a particular area or particular location for the entire day, and you are confined sort of like in like mental jail or like a physical jail. I've watched a couple of YouTube videos about people who are working the 9 to 5. They hate them for various reasons. Maybe there's a lot of office politics, or maybe there's too much stupid rules, or they're don't have the freedom or authority to do what they do. So they're kind of like their creativities is dying out. But my job is different. Even though I'm physically there, but my job would give me room for my creativity, for my strategic thinking, and there since we are a footwear manufacturer, and we are more like athletic style, so the wardrobe, it is not like very super highly restricted. You can just wear whatever you like, as long as you're not like wearing like sandals or something, and you don't need to suit up like you need a suit or like very formal wear, pants or shirts or so on. There's some kind of freedom over there. And in my office, I can wear earphones, whatever I like, and so it's not as strict. But I can resonate. I can feel that for some people, staying in one particular area for forever is gonna kill them and making them feel like zombies. So but what I'm saying is that not every workspace is the same. While I still enjoy the freedoms whenever I have, but there's some things that you need to be aware of, is that you still need the income, you still need a sense of growth from where you work, and you are learning something, you are becoming better as a manager, or become a strategist, or become knowing better about your business and what you do and what the industries are moving. So for me, it's very difficult to say I hate this job or I love this job. I would say, as for it now, sometimes it's like fluctuating, but majority of the time I'm enjoying what I do. Depends on my mood, and it depends on how many meetings I have that day. But yeah, so that is what I'm thinking about. If some people don't enjoy what they do, and they should seek to make changes, but you want to be careful, be strategic, because you want to take you're gonna plan that out, right? You can just go out and sacrifice and abandon everything, then you are putting yourself in jeopardy. There's no income, no job, and suddenly you don't have any other things to do, and your time is just a blank piece of the canvas every day, and you don't know what to do, right? Like for some people, they retire, but they don't have a plan for that. And there's a scientific study that in Taiwan, those who retire without anything to do, they die earlier, because they suddenly they are ripped of the obligations or the responsibilities or a purpose to live, and they just stay home and watch TV, and sometimes they go to the park for the stroll and nothing else. They don't experience life. They don't have more other extended pursuit for things they like. So this kind of people, their life expectancy is shorter than people who still live with a purpose. But coming back to living the 8 to 5 in here, I think so what I'm trying to say is that I'm just sharing what I feel, and that is true that I don't feel really rested even I'm out of the office. But I would say I would feel much better when it hits 5 p.m. And I feel like, whew, finally the office hour is over, and most of the people, they left the office. Then okay, I can really relax my mind and my body, and I can, it's kind of like switch off during that time. Even though I'm not physically there, I'm switching off the work button together with everybody else, and that is really interesting and funny how I observe myself for a long time. So I don't know if this resonates with you, and I don't have a fix for that. I'm just sharing what I think, and if you would share what you think in the comments, or you can just like the video, that's much appreciated. Thank you. My name is Basement, by the way.